you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and today I wanted to discuss the benefits of a little bit of peace and quiet, and also how to obtain more quiet time during your day. And also, I didn't want to just discuss the benefits and the reasoning behind peace and quiet for us adults who are busy with work, children, internships, just whatever it may be, other outside responsibilities, relationships, family, but also for children and then teens as well, because I think that sometimes we believe that children don't need peace and quiet, and that it's okay, and that they're always rambunctious, and that we are the ones who need peace and quiet because our kids are so loud or we're so busy through hustle and bustle throughout the day. But that was just some things that I wanted to touch on as well. Now, I have discussed with you and shared with you guys before in the past, and in previous episodes about disconnecting and turning off your phone and not your phone, reaching for your phone and going on social media or going through your emails or texting, whatever it is, first thing in the morning or before you go to sleep, right? Because we want to disconnect, and just even sometimes leaving your phone at home if you don't really need it, or leaving, not being on your tablet, not being on the computer, whatever it is, but just literally disconnecting completely from the TV, from social media, from internet, all of that. But then there's also in conjunction with having times of disconnect, you also need just peace and quiet time where it's just you and nothing else. And again, I don't mean in the shower, because people think, which is okay, but being in the shower, there's still a lot of stimulus going on. You have the shower water itself, and depending on your situation at home, or if you live in the dorms, if you're in college or whatever it may be, and you might have to share one of those, because sometimes in dorms you have two showers for a group of one side of the hall, and so there might be other people in the shower at the same time as you are, different stalls or whatever, or there might be people blow drying their hair or whatever. There's just a lot of stimulus that is going on, and a lot of noise, background noise around you, that it's not truly peace and quiet. And so so there was an environmental psychologist named Arlene Brosenzoft, who she did a study, and this study took place in 1975, and so that found out that the reading scores of elementary students in classrooms located next to train tracks, so constant hustle and bustle and commotion, actually lagged a full year behind their peers in quieter classrooms on the other side of that building. And so she did say that noise makes it more difficult to learn. And when you can't stop noise, it can create incredible stress. And then also learned helplessness and the feeling that you just have to sit there and take it. And then that increases your stress as well. And so and if you're like me, I'm the type of person who, if I'm studying or preparing for my shows or writing down notes and things like that, and I typically do it, now that I've been at home, I typically do it in the kitchen, and our kitchen area is right next to our living room. And in our living room, we have our TV. And I'm the type of person where if somebody's watching TV, I don't ask them to turn it down or to turn it off typically, because I just tell myself I can tune it out and that it's okay for a little bit of background noise. But according to this study, it's really not okay. And that sometimes you do need full peace and quiet to actually study and to give it your undivided attention so that you could perform and do it at your best. And so what it is that you want to have some quiet time, and some ways to have quiet time is some people, they'll pray or they'll meditate or literally just sit there and just have quiet time, even if you're just lying down in bed and just being disconnected completely and having quiet time. Now, children, it says, and like I said, in this episode, I wanted to discuss reasons why at different ages in our lives that we need quiet time, and also how to implement that and to how to try to make it more of a reality for you. Because it's always nice to know reasons why we need something, but then it's sometimes hard to come up with ways to implement that within our daily routine, right? So I wanted to do a little bit of both for you guys. Now, children, it was saying that in a 2014 study published by Nature that in baby mice exposed to persistent noise for 10 hours a day had a 70% reduction in the formation of blood vessels in their brain. And so it was saying that the correlation with children is that they spend 7 hours or more sometimes per day at school, and all that constant stimulus that's happening within, because, there's outside, there's recess, there's a bell, there's people. And when I say recess, like there's kids outside playing recess and having fun at recess, yelling, screaming, laughing, all of that, while other students are still in the classroom. And so there's still all that background noise while they're trying to learn. And it's can potentially have an effect on just their reading performance, as we learned earlier in the episode, but also the formation of their brains as well. And so when you look at it that way, and you look at it as noise can actually, and too much noise can actually impact your development, then we realize that having some peace and quiet and having designated times of just quiet and stillness are very, very important. And so, like I said, I'm going to get into that when we come back. So keep it locked here. You're listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. I will be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm Pauline, and I wanted to give some ways that you can implement quiet time for your children. Now, it can be kind of difficult, and it's going to take some getting used to at first, which honestly is something that is true for even adults, because there's times where even if you try to have some quiet time, your mind's racing and you're thinking and worried about other things. You're not just sitting there and relaxing or just enjoying. And so what I mean by this, and it could be literally having peace and quiet time and stopping everything and just sitting there or stretching or relaxing. But another way is because we want to teach ourselves and to learn, and children to get used to multitasking. However, for example, they are working on a craft, or they are drawing, they're painting, they're doing a puzzle, they're reading, having all background noise off. So that includes a TV or light music playing in the background, literally having it quiet and not having a lot of other added stimulus and added stressors. So when you're reading or drawing or whatever it may be that it is that you're doing, that there isn't even the TV on in the background and my family growing up, we did that a lot. We always had the TV on. There was always something on the TV, but it's okay to cut the TV off and to not have it going just because you're drawing, and just having it in the background is literally just having your time to draw and having your time to relax and letting them paint or letting them read without having their minds compete with other things. And understanding, because, and this is something that even us as adults have to deal with as well, is having that period of the come down period. So for example, if your child is out running around, like you guys just went to the park, you guys just had a sports practice, school even, but then just having that time to wind down and allowing yourself to relax. And sometimes it could be in the car ride. And so there are times, even for myself, I'll use myself as an example. And this can be done when you're in the car, picking up your children from school, picking them up from practice, whatever it is, but not having the radio on, or not having the, in my car, in the car that we had growing up, we had the monitor in the car so you can watch movies during long drives and things like that. So not having movies playing, not having them clicking away on their tablet with the headphones plugged in, but literally just having a quiet, relaxed drive. Chatting if you want to, asking them how practice was going and things like that, but literally just having the car quiet, because if that's the only quiet time that you can create, because once you get home, they have to start homework and get showers, dinner, and all that, then having the drive home being really calm and quiet is a really nice way for you to create quiet time in the life of your child. And so, which honestly is just nice in general. And if they want to talk, they want to tell you about their day, that's cool. Just literally playing the quiet game. That was something that I was thinking about as well, as another way to create peace and quiet, is playing the quiet game and actually playing the quiet game instead of pretending and using it as punishment. And doing that with them and having quiet time with them, where the two of you, the three of you, the four of you, whatever, however big your family is, enjoying and relaxing together. And that maybe everybody reads together, or everybody sits down on the couch and just reads a good book, or like I said, paint or sew, if you crochet, whatever it may be, just something that you can just do that's kind of mindless and relaxing without the TV on, without music blasting, without added extra stimulus that can be created. And so that's one way to create that quiet time with your children. But then as they grow up, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult for you to actually create that quiet time for them and forcing them. So, and especially with teenagers, because there's a lot going on and they always have, and I don't know if you guys are so like, I try to remember when I was a teenager, which I know wasn't too long ago, but I used to always feel when I was a teenager that there was just something always going on, that I always had someplace I had to be, that I literally would be in class worried about basketball practice or worried about the game, and then at the game or during practice, because I did a lot of different activities growing up. Like I used to do dance, I was a kickboxer, I played basketball, I had my brothers and all of that. So there's always something going on. And there would be a lot of times when, as I grew older, I ended up wanting to only focus on basketball. And so I played on multiple basketball teams. And there were often times when I would go to one basketball practice, leave that practice and go straight to another one for a different team, or leave one basketball game and go straight to the next game for a different team. So there was always something on my mind. And then you're always worried about your schoolwork as well. And then when you're a junior and senior, you're worried about college. There's just so many other things. And then when you get to start driving, if you have a job, and how stressful. And, it was for me while I was a teenager. And so sometimes as a parent, guardian, or just even yourself as a teenager, you have to really enforce having quiet time and really being very vigilant and very disciplined about turning off electronics, because sometimes we get confused, especially in this day and age, is, being on different apps or being on little games on our phone, whether it's like playing dominoes or playing Blossom Blast. I love Blossom Blast. I really do. I haven't played it in a while, but I was very, very into Blossom Blast all summer. And that we think that that's kind of quiet time. But you're still connected to all that stimulus and all that music and the sounds that the apps make while you're playing them. And so really just having that disconnect time and having that time where you're not being distracted, where you're not, and if you're doing homework, turning off your phone, turning it on silent and tucking it away in your backpack or putting it on the kitchen counter, because you have your phone. And for a lot of us, our phones ding with notifications or they light up with notifications. So you're having all these outside distractions when you really could be focused and you could be just having some relaxed time. And in my house, when we were growing up, my mom would always have us plug in our phones downstairs and not allowing and she wouldn't allow us to have our phones plugged in our room. And the reasoning behind that is so that you're not up all late at night being distracted with texting or playing games or looking stuff up on the internet, because you have your phone right there in front of you. And so it forces you go to sleep a lot earlier because you're tired. You really are tired, but your body stays up because you're being distracted by your phone, by your tablet, by your computer. And so you, fall asleep quicker and faster. And because of that, you do get more rest. And then also because you don't have that constant stimulus all the time, because there's just so much stimulus around us throughout the day already as it is. And then also, again, just having some time where you just have your own quality time. And even if you just are writing in a journal as a teenager, encouraging them to write in a journal, encouraging them to, if you want to go outside, because sometimes, like my brother, for instance, he plays the piano. So when he wants to have his quiet time and his alone time, he plays the piano. He, that's his source of release. And so having that time without added stimulus of just playing the piano, doing something that you love, again, doing something that's kind of mindless, but that you don't get distracted from or distracted by, and allowing other distractions to interrupt you to where you're having to focus on multiple things at once. It's really being able to cut back all the excess so that you can focus on one task all by itself without forcing yourself to multitask and to listen to other outside distractions. And then I do want to take it to a quick break. And then when we come back, I want to discuss some ways to implement some peace and quiet within our adult life. So the third phase. So we already covered children, teenagers just now, and then also as adults. So keep it locked here. You're listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. I will be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm Pauline, and I wanted to give some final pointers on how to create some more peace and quiet within our adult lives as well. And it may be because we're so used to having, because you hear so many people say, oh, I just need some background noise, or, oh, I just use it to keep me, I just like noise in the background is really a very common one. But we don't realize is that that background noise can be distracting, and it can cause us to not full-heartedly focus on something, and it doesn't, because we can hear other outside noises that we're not giving our task or whatever it may be our undivided attention, because we're dividing it up with that background noise as well. And so one way to kind of help, because there are a lot of times a lot of things can be habit. It may just be a habit of yours that you always have the TV on. So you have to break that habit. It may be a habit that every time you go for a walk or take your dog out on the walk, that you take your phone with you as well, instead of just enjoying that walk and enjoying the peace and quiet that comes with going on a walk or going on a light jog. And then also, like I said, this is another one. We discussed this when I mentioned this when discussing teenagers, but turning off the notifications on your phone, that do not disturb feature that you have on your iPhone, it's wonderful. It really is. Just having it on do not disturb, or just having time throughout your day that you carve out, that you say you're not going to have your phone on, or you're not going to be on it, just tucking it into the drawer in the kitchen or in wherever it is. And not having your phone always on your hip will definitely help you. Another really cool feature or technology that can really help create more quiet time for you, especially when you are in a very loud and noisy environment, is noise canceling headphones. So if you're someone who's always traveling, you're always on flights, or you're just around a lot of just excess noise that you want to truly cancel out, it's really nice, because then you can kind of have your own little haven. Even though there's a lot of things going around you and you can't necessarily shut it off, truly, you're able to wear those noise canceling headphones so that you don't have to deal with it just because you can't get out of it. And then another thing is just kind of being like an introvert, having that time by yourself to recharge, to download, and to just relax and to shut things down so that you're not constantly feeling like, I call it being turned on. So you don't feel like you're still turned on because you're so stimulated. And then some other quick tips for you to create a more calm and quiet environment for you that you may not even realize it's causing you added stress until you get it fixed, is little things around your house. So like a dripping faucet, or a toilet that's always making noise that you try to block out but really does cause you some stress, and like that dripping, or a buzz of a light that cuts on, like sometimes when you turn on a light it will buzz, like it just has that hum, that buzz, but it can be really annoying. And for some people, you may be able to tune it out, but for others it's really, really loud for them, or it's really, really annoying, and that they cannot deal with it. It really just overstimulates them. It's just too much stimulus. So little things around your house that cause added extra noise that needs to be fixed. So leaky faucet, or that light bulb, or just something, whatever it is in your house, like that clangs, something that's constantly clanging. You might have a door that when it's open and it's not propped open correctly, always smacks against the wall every time the wind blows. Eliminating little things like that can be a cause for some tension and annoyance. And then also having, because your ears don't ever turn off, they do have machines that are like white noise machines or steady hums, and you can even get it on your phone. They also even have apps on your phone that will create white noise for you to kind of help cancel out other stimulus and other stimulating noises and interruptions, so that it's just constant that steady white noise to help you relax and to keep you focused. And then also, this kind of goes with what I had just mentioned, but swapping out old appliances. Now, this is something that, of course, I totally understand can be very, very expensive. But then, as technology has advanced, so have houseware and house appliances. And so different refrigerators are a lot more quiet now. So you don't have to deal with that steady hum or the generator. And then also, like your washer and dryer, maybe it's just really loud. Maybe you hate having to wash clothes and things like that because it's just so loud and you don't realize it. It's because of how loud the washer and dryer are. And even like the dishwasher. honestly, the dishwasher can be really, really loud. And sometimes I remember, I forget where I was at some friend of mine's house. We didn't realize how loud the dishwasher was until the cycle was finally over. And then we were like, wow, that was so loud. Like, cause you don't realize it till it cuts off and then it's so quiet now. And then also this kind of goes with the whole noise canceling headphones, but just keeping earplugs with you. Because sometimes that might be helpful while you're at work. It depends on where you work, or it just depends on if you're in an apartment and the walls are thin and maybe somebody else's dryer makes a lot of noise. Then you can wear those head canceling or noise canceling headphones, or just earplugs to keep with you when, you know, somebody outside is mowing their lawn, or outside your window at work, the maintenance crew is fixing something. Then you can definitely just plug those in real quickly and just kind of have some quiet time while you work. So that's actually going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Hopefully you guys learned some tips and ways to add in some more quiet within your life and quiet time within your life. My personal favorite is just disconnecting. It really does help. And allowing yourself to have quiet time. I even sometimes when I drive home, I won't listen to music on my drive home. But then once I get into the driveway, I still just sit there in the car for a few minutes and just kind of relax and just kind of download for a little bit. Because, you know, when you're driving home after work, especially depending on where you live with all the traffic, that can take out a lot of energy from you because you're having to be so aggressive while you drive and you're worried about getting home safe. So that's something else that I do, is just sometimes sitting in the car, in a parked car, just relaxed, no music, no nothing, just to download before either leaving my car to go to work or to my internship, or to go into that house to finish up the rest of the night. So that is my personal favorite quiet time, is just sitting in the car with nothing on. So that's going to do it, like I said, for this episode. You have been listening to this episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast. You can find this episode as well as a ton of other podcasts and other episodes on our network website. That's gsmcpodcast.com, as well as on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. I'm Pauline, and I will talk to you guys next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.